Captain Ryland's boots clanged against the polished metal floor of the royal landing platform, echoing far too loudly for someone who preferred sneaking past danger rather than announcing it. He adjusted the straps of his armor, muttering something about the infernal design of alien belts, which seemed more intent on aesthetic curves than actual support. The platform hovered above the cityscape, a lattice of silver towers and neon streets sprawling beneath, and the wind from the anti-grav thrusters tugged at his jacket like it had a vendetta. At the center of this mechanical symphony, the Queen stood, a vision that made even the most seasoned guards falter. Her skin was pale with a subtle iridescence, and her long ears curved backward like delicate metallic fins. They twitched as she scanned the crowd, observing everyone with an intensity that could fry circuits. Ryland stumbled over a loose panel, catching himself just before it would have sent him sprawling into the side of a hovering transport. "Great first impression," he muttered, earning a faint flick of amusement from the Queen. He tried to straighten, but the armor squeaked in protest, sounding suspiciously like it was laughing at him. Suddenly, the crowd parted with a roar. The biomech creature had appeared. It moved unervingly, muscles like coiled titanium and claws sparking with energy pulses. People screamed. Some waved energy shields that sputtered like old neon signs, and the ceremonial drones swiveled with panicked precision. Ryland's instinct was immediate, if not entirely graceful. He lunged toward the Queen, catching the beast's first swipe with his forearm, feeling a jolt of electricity that made him yelp like a startled synthcat. "I did not sign up for this in my training manual," he gasped. The creature swung again, faster, but Ryland rolled, grabbed a loose energy baton from the ground, and jabbed it into a joint, sending sparks flying. Amidst the chaos, the Queen pivoted effortlessly, her long ears twitching in synchrony with the hum of her hovering cape. She issued a single command in a voice both melodic and terrifying. The creature hesitated, tilted its head as if confused by her tone. Ryland took the moment to collapse behind her, coughing and laughing at the absurdity of surviving the deadliest creature in the Empire only to find himself in a royal hug waiting. He grinned weakly, thinking, well, at least my first heroic act comes with a front-row seat to royalty. If you want, I can continue with Chapter 2, keeping the humor, rich sci-fi world, and slow character building at the same level. Do you want me to continue? Ryland's eyes fluttered open to a soft, humming light, the kind that made him feel like he had accidentally woken up inside a giant computer chip. The first thing he noticed was the Queen, or rather, the Queen's long, delicate ears brushing against his arm as she shifted to make herself more comfortable. He froze, heart racing, and muttered, "Well, this is awkward." The Queen's eyes, glowing faintly with an inner luminescence, blinked at him with a mixture of concern and exasperation. "You move like a drunken hoverbot," she said, her voice carrying a teasing lilt that made him snort despite the soreness in his ribs. He tried to sit up, only to realize that his torso was wrapped in a strange, silvery fabric that felt both soft and like it could double as a force field. "Am I, entangled in some royal security blanket?" he asked, grimacing as he wiggled. The Queen let out a sharp, airy laugh, ears flicking like twin sensors catching static. "Hardly. I'm ensuring you don't roll off the medical platform while muttering about your human fragility," she said. Ryland coughed, making a joking face. "Fragility? That's an insult and a warning in the same sentence." The room smelled faintly of alien herbs and ozone. Machines hummed rhythmically, scanning his body, occasionally beeping with encouraging little chirps. The Queen leaned back, floating slightly with anti-grav supports hidden beneath her flowing robes, and began explaining, in bursts of witty sarcasm, the Empire's peculiar medical protocols. "Here," she said, handing him a device that looked suspiciously like a cross between a tricorder and a teapot. "This monitors your vital signs. If it beeps, you're either dying or amusingly resilient. Either way, congratulations." Ryland, despite the dull ache in his side, couldn't help but laugh. "I'd like to think it's mostly resilience," he said, trying to shift his weight without toppling them both. She twitched her ears at him, a smirk playing across her glowing features. "Your sense of humor may be human, but it's oddly useful. Keeps the other guards from fainting. Between sarcastic exchanges and awkward attempts at mobility, a strange camaraderie began forming. She poked, he dodged, he joked, and she corrected him. By the time the scanners hummed a steady tone of approval, Rylan realized that recovering in the arms of a teasing, long-eared queen wasn't quite as terrifying as he'd feared. In fact, it might just be bearable. I can continue with Chapter 3 next, diving into palace intrigue, conspiracies, and the bond between Rylan and the queen, keeping the humor and rich sci-fi elements. Should I proceed? Perfect. I can continue in the same style and tone, keeping the humor, rich sci-fi, and character interaction while building toward intrigue and tension. Here's the next continuation in story form, roughly 2,000 characters. Adrian shifted nervously under the queen's gaze, her long ears now twitching like twin radar dishes, scanning for anomalies in his expression. Every whisper of movement from the alien delegation sounded like the soft creaking of a starship's hull in the void. Somewhere between a human comedy holoclass and maybe a snack-time anecdote? He offered weakly, unsure if humor or her patience was a universal language. The queen tilted her head again, studying him with eyes that seemed to refract light into colors Adrian didn't have names for. Asterisk curious, asterisk, she murmured, her voice low but resonating in the chamber as if the words themselves were magnetic. She straightened, ears flicking with the faintest hint of amusement, and her hand swept outward, dismissing the nearest advisors like cosmic dust. Asterisk human. You have perspective. Asterisk. Adrian blinked. Perspective? Is that good or bad? Because last time I checked, I was still in a room where everyone could vaporize me with an unamused glance. The queen's lips curved in what Adrian swore was a smile, or an alien approximation of one. Asterisk amusing. Perhaps you will survive longer than expected. Asterisk. Her words reverberated, bouncing off the high ceilings, sending translator drones into spasms of confused chirping. Adrian fought back a laugh, realizing the queen wasn't angry, just unpredictable. Longer than expected, he muttered under his breath. I'll take it as a compliment and maybe a life insurance policy. A tense silence followed, broken only by the faint hum of energy conduits lining the chamber walls. Then the queen's voice cut through, softer now, almost conspiratorial. Asterisk human, you understand timing. You speak with courage or recklessness. Both are intriguing. Asterisk. She stepped closer, and Adrian could feel the faint brush of some subtle energy field around her. His own body prickled with awareness, though nothing overtly harmful occurred. I try to keep it entertaining, he said, scratching the back of his neck. Most humans just panic. I improvise. Her ears twitched, ever so slightly, and she nodded once, sharply. Asterisk improvisation. A trait of interest. Perhaps you will remain near. Asterisk. Adrian swallowed. Remain near? Did that mean he was being officially invited or trapped? Either way, he had the sinking feeling that the next cosmic scale joke might be on him. And somehow, he had a growing suspicion that the queen's sense of humor might be as dangerous as her long, elegant ears promised. If you want, I can continue to write the next chapter where Adrian and the queen's interaction escalates, building their bond, humor, and interstellar intrigue, keeping this same rich, humorous, sci-fi style. Do you want me to continue?